It's the mighty power that can save the day. In fact, they're always riding hot on Venom's trail. We're talking M.A.S.K. Hit it. It was 1985. Coca-Cola introduced New Coke. Nintendo made its North American debut. Route 66 was taken off the American highway system, and Kenner debuted its M.A.S.K. toy line and cartoon. We got to see the laser rays fire away. I'm your host, Gerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Joining me is a very special guest, Michael Christelman. You might know him from the Way Awesome blog, The Wonderful World of Nothing. Michael, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? I'm looking forward to it.
I'm doing all right myself. This quarantine treating you all right?
Yeah, I'm getting paid to stay at home, which is very weird. So, but I'm living.
Hey, you know what? We don't mind when that happens sometimes.
Exactly.
unless it's too long, and then we do mind.
Yeah, which I think it already has been, but I don't know when it's going to end either.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully soon, and hopefully before Christmas. That'd be something.
Yeah, I was hoping like maybe by July 4th, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think you're right, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. And if we can, we do what we can, and hopefully we save lives in the process, right?
Exactly.
All right. So today, we're talking M.A.S.K. You remember M.A.S.K?
Yes, I do. I had 4 toys. I think they came along like maybe the last year or two that I really played with toys, but I had 4 of them. Matt, the leader of M.A.S.K and the leader of V.E.N.O.M. So I was all set.
Nice. Yeah. As long as you have Duke and Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe and Optimus Prime and Megatron and Transformers, you're all set. So yeah, right on. Well, I'm very blessed that my parents kept some of my old toys, and so I actually have the Matt Tracker with this Thunderhawk here, and Brad Turner with this Condor bike, the one that turned into the motorcycle here. And my kids are really enjoying playing with them, I'll tell you.
Good.
But let's talk about why we're.
Those are the two. Those were the 2 masks I had.
Nice.
So.
Right on. Yeah, the bike was always so cool to me. Just the sleek green machine, and they're missing lots of parts now, but the kids still like playing with them. Yeah. So yeah. But let's talk about why we're actually discussing M.A.S.K. M.A.S.K. It was developed by Kenner in 1985, and that same year, the TV show, the cartoon, actually debuted as well. And as G.I. Joe before it did, it was kind of the whole purpose for the show was to sell the toys. Now, Kenner, really interesting thing about Kenner is that they were actually bought out by Hasbro in 91, and they sort of tried to do a reboot of M.A.S.K called Vortec. That didn't quite work out as well because it didn't quite have the same elements that M.A.S.K had. So M.A.S.K stands for Mobile, let's see, where is it? It's Mobile Armored Strike Kommand. Command, of course, with the K, like Mortal Kombat. You got to be cool. It was the 80s. Everything with the C starts with the K. But but they had a few series. I think it was like 4 series. And really, the reason we're talking about it on this show in particular was because it was the 5th best-selling toy according to 3,000 different U.S. retailers, and that was they were interviewed by Toy and Hobby World magazine, and in 1986 that was their thing. It was their 5th best-selling Christmas toy. So I got one for Christmas, and I think it counts. So we're going to go ahead and talk about M.A.S.K today.
Yeah, I think I received at least one of them for Christmas, but Christmas, my birthday is the day before Christmas.
Nice.
And my parents like to mix up what they get me. I'll say, you know, I want this for my birthday, I want that for Christmas. It always switched around, so I probably got one or two around those times.
Right. I gotcha. Nice. You know, I remember the cartoon, and I think what made it work was that it was kind of a combination of G.I. Joe and Transformers. You know, it kind
Yes.
of had that military-esque, you know, special ops vibe to it, but you know, it had the transforming cars. So so
Yep.
it was like the best of both worlds with very few of its flaws. The cartoon actually kind of, I mean, it's not great, but it still kind of holds up.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of them the last week, and they're interesting.
So what I remember from the show, and it was pretty much the same plot structure as G.I. Joe. So this is almost like a spiritual kind of sequel to our G.I. Joe
Yes.
episode, but essentially Venom, who is M.A.S.K's evil counterpart, they go after some sort of MacGuffin. And although I think they ventured a little more into the mystical than G.I. Joe
Yes.
did, but M.A.S.K was the one that had to stop them, and there was usually a setback. Maybe someone got injured, and then they'd save the day in the end.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I like that Venom, they could give lessons to Austin Powers about ransom, because it was like 50 million, 100 million instead of, you know, $1 million.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And of course, by today's standards, that's still pretty low, you know. Bill Gates,
that's
50
very
million? Oh,
true.
yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my briefcase.
Yeah, yeah. I'll Zell that over to you right now.
Here's a floppy disk.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. Yeah, floppy disks or something.
Yes.
Uh, you remember Oregon Trail?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I always died. It like every time. I never
Yeah.
survived Oregon Trail. So, uh, whether whether you're
I actually, I I played that a couple of months ago. I found a website that would have it, and I
really.
died. So yeah.
Well, if you're ever trying to recruit me into M.A.S.K, probably don't, because I'll probably die. So just save me instead. But
There you go.
um, I think my favorite character out of the whole show, and the reason was because I got this character specifically. I remember for Christmas was Matt Tracker. You know, like you were saying,
Oh,
he's
okay.
the
Yep.
leader, the main good
Yep.
guy, the millionaire who, after his brother died, decided to devote his life to fighting crime and terrorism. And
Yes.
um, but he was my favorite because not only did he have that, I mean, that cool. What was it? Was it a Trans Am?
The Trans Am. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Not only did he have that, and the wings went up, you know, and the doors went up and became wings, but to
Yep.
me, he had the coolest mask. Like it just did the best stuff, you know.
Yes.
Spectrum could levitate him, and all sorts of other cool stuff. And I remember that the different figures, he would be in different outfits,
Yeah.
and then he would have different masks. And there was this one
Yep.
that I got for Christmas, I believe, in '87, because it was already when they were starting to decline in popularity.
Okay.
But he had this mask that almost looked like a bat or a wolf kind of a thing, and
Okay.
it kind of reminds me of the when Azrael took over as Batman in the '90s. You know, it was
Yeah.
like the early mid '90s, and Bruce Wayne's back
Yeah.
was broken, and Azrael took over, and he had like this cool, you know, looking back at it now, it's like, oh, it's terrible. But at the time, I was like, man, this is awesome, and it kind of reminded me of that, except it was like this weird magenta color.
Yeah.
but you know, he was just the coolest guy. He kind of had that whole Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark,
Yep.
what's the name,
Exactly.
Lamont Cranston, you know, kind
Yep.
of vibe about him, and something about
And
millionaire
he looked like
playboys that
James
just
Bond.
become superheroes. It's like such a staple, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep. Yeah. I had the copter. I
Okay.
had the Camaro Trans Am.
Okay.
I had Sly in that like purple, I guess deep blue motorcycle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then I had the oh, I'm losing it. The main Venom guy
Oh, Miles
with
Mayhem.
the Miles, yes.
I
I
think
had
you're
those
pretty
were the
much
4 I
destined
had.
to be. I think you're pretty much destined to be a villain when your last name is Mayhem. You know.
Yeah.
Like
True.
I don't know if there's anything else you can really do. You know, just like Doctor Evil. Speaking of Austin Powers.
Well, some of the name I wrote down some of the names because they were just amazing. They're as part of M.A.S.K, you had Hondo Striker McLean, Buddy Clutch Hawkins, Calhoun Burns, which is just, I mean, that's just perfect.
Yeah.
And then for Venom, there was Lester the Lizard Sludge, Floyd Birdman Malloy. Of course, that sounds like a fighter. And then Bruno Mad Dog Shepherd. I mean,
nice. Yeah, one of the early henchmen was Cliff Dagger.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be an alias, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, his name's probably like Eugene or something. And if your name is Eugene, I apologize.
Yeah, Alex Megabyte Sector.
Yeah, Alex
Dusty
Sector.
Powder Keg Hayes.
These guys,
so
I mean, they could be like old 1910 like baseball players, you know?
Yes, exactly. Brad Chopper Turner, that's perfect for baseball.
That is awesome, anyway. Yeah. You know, I always like Brad Turner because he was a musician. Like he was in a band. He played lead guitar and everything. And I always thought that was like so cool, you know. And then of course he drove that awesome bike. And so now that I play guitar and sing and playing bands and stuff like that, it's just like, yeah, that guy was.
Yep.
I wonder if that's where I got it from.
Awesome. There you go.
But I have yet to join a Mobile Armored Strike Kommand, so that's on my to-do list. Yeah.
Yeah. If I find one, I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks. Just I might put out like an ad on Craigslist or something.
There are masks all over the place right now, but I don't think those are the type.
I don't. Yeah, not quite. There's no special powers, but yeah, you're right. They all had cool names. Their vehicles had cool names like Firecracker, Gator, Rhino was the
Condor.
That big rig. Yeah, Condor. What is it? Thunderhawk. You know, that's
exactly.
That's so cool.
Thunderhawk.
Stiletto. Yeah. Talk about evil. Switchblade was another one.
Yeah, the marketing team really put together some good names.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's not like He-Man where you had like Stinkor or the elephant guy Snout Spout.
Yep. My brother is 17 months younger than I am. He went after Transformers and He-Man, and I got G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and so.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, the Star Wars. I mean, Kenner was responsible for the Star Wars. You know, they had those small, about 3 to 4 inch figures, and it's because of them that we got G.I. Joe. But yeah, so Kenner gave us the. They gave us the Star Wars, and then they moved on and took the best of G.I. Joe, which their rival was doing, and then they provided us with M.A.S.K. They combined that with, like I was saying, like a Transformers style kind of thing, and which I thought was really interesting because the cartoon series, it ran for 2 seasons, but the second season was based more on the 3rd and 4th series of Toyline.
Oh yeah.
And where they were more like racers. They kind of went into like they I guess had enough of fighting terrorists, and they're like, you know what we should get into? I think we've settled world peace. Let's get into just racing. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. By then I didn't have much to do with them, but looking back, I should have, because I'm a big race fan.
Oh, nice.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, subconsciously they kind of put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first season ran for 65 episodes, and then season 2 was
that's crazy.
Right? Yeah, that's you're talking like He-Man there. And it's funny, they even played cartoons on like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. They had new episodes airing. which I mean, nowadays that's unheard of. You know, you stop like for sure by like the second week of December, but sometimes even by the first week of December. And if you're a
Yeah.
cartoon
Yep.
series, generally you kind of stop um, really by like mid to late October, sometimes November, and then you start like recycling reruns after that. But these guys, they're like, no, we're not gonna do that. Push the show, and so they kept going. But yeah, the 65 episodes, and I mean that seems like a lot. I guess that's pretty standard because He-Man had 65 episodes too. But nowadays, you don't
Yeah.
see that.
No, you got to figure it was, every day after school for 5 days. That adds up very quickly. But
Yeah,
still, I mean, looking at it back now, they ran for 2 seasons, but they did like 90 episodes one season. That's like 5 or 6 years for a normal TV show.
yeah. And I think it has to do with
So,
syndication. Like if they got a certain amount of episodes, then they'd be able to syndicate the show, you know,
yeah.
to sell it,
Yep.
and you know, then they can play it and get money from there. But you know, I mean that nowadays that's just unheard of. Like you have a major production, and even cartoons, they only run generally for like 24. You know, 22 to 24 episodes per season. So 65 is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Yep.
But you're right. You know, you think about it in terms of weeks. 5 days a week. That's about what 13 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, wow.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
animators, they knew they had a job because I mean it was just one after the other.
For real.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
look at them stimulating the economy.
I think I heard somewhere that a TV show, maybe not a cartoon, to go into syndication is like 80.
80, I think,
maybe
is what
100.
It is, yeah.
So yeah. So they were like, they passed that, 2 weeks into the second season.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You know, the one that I always wanted, and I wanted it because it was so cool. You know, the opening theme song would start off, and it was the Boulder Hill set. It was like
yeah.
I think it was a service station, right? Like next to a mountain, and then the whole thing would transform. And I always wanted that one. And of course, it was a little more expensive, so my parents couldn't afford it. But you know, it was just it's something that I was so looking forward to it. And my cousin, he had a bunch of M.A.S.K toys. He had like almost all of them. So you know, I always want to go to his house, and then we just hang out. And I remember this one time where we were playing, and his dad like had to go run an errand, and I think we had to be 6, but we were so busy playing that his dad just left us in our room and just went out real quick and ran his errand and then came back. And we didn't know anything. We didn't even know he was gone. We found out later.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was the 57 Chevy was another one that I wanted and never got. I think that was called Firecracker. And it was like that classic blue with the flames painted on it. And
yep. Awesome.
I think that was the one that was it Hondo drives, I think.
Yeah. I think it was Todd Killian said he had one. I think that's what he said that he had, was the Boulder set.
Oh man, that's so cool. It's one of those that I wanted it so bad, and of course I never got it. Came with Alex Sector and Buddy Hawks.
Okay.
Again with the cool names. With their jackrabbit and their penetrator masks.
Yes. Yep.
But I remember I actually got them because they sold figures. They were like $3.99, and they sold figures separately.
Yeah.
As like 2-packs, and so I bought them that way since I couldn't afford the whole set.
And those action figures were smaller than the 3/4 size too.
They were, yeah.
Looking back, I didn't realize that, but I've done some research, and they were smaller.
I think they're only about 2 inches tall.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, for those of you, and of course, physical bits always kill on a podcast. But but here's my. I'm holding up my Matt Tracker toy that my children play with, and this thing is quite tiny compared to the GI Joes, which are about this big.
Yeah.
But fun fact, so Hasbro, like I mentioned, they bought Kenner in '91. And in 2000 they closed Kenner, but they kept, of course they still have the licenses and everything. But one of the things that they did was in 2008 they actually released and kind of retconned M.A.S.K as a sub special ops unit of GI Joe. So in 2008 they released a Matt Tracker figure in the 3 3/4 inch, and he is actually a GI Joe now. It's a special agent Tracker, and it's crazy. And I'll post a picture of this online, on the all of our social media later on. But yeah, it's really cool. They're currently running about $40 on eBay. I wish I had known. I would have scooped one up from the store when it came out. I mean, that's just so cool. And but the best part to me is that, because I'm big into world building, I'm sure you guys, all you listeners out there, have heard whenever I've been on the Tiza podcast as a guest, I always talk about sci-fi fantasy world building kind of thing. And so the cool thing about M.A.S.K being GI Joe is that GI Joe actually in the comics, they interacted a lot with Transformers. So that means that M.A.S.K, Transformers, and GI Joe are all in one shared universe. So eat your heart out, Marvel.
Well, I saw links. I didn't click on any of the stories, but I saw links that they were trying to do a movie.
They are
about a crossover with all of them.
And right now, I believe F. Gary Gray is tapped to direct, which is really cool. He did some of the Fast and Furious movies, and of course he's just fantastic director. So, and I actually think that that's kind of the direction they probably should go. Where they're slightly grounded, but still have some elements of the fantastical in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. I mean, a car driving through a building, I don't know about, but M.A.S.K could pull it off, Yeah.
Well, it was for the 25th anniversary, right? The GI Joe version.
Yes.
And why didn't they have Mayhem as one too? So they could, because he's perfect. Cobra, Venom, it's all the same.
Well, they did.
I don't know why they didn't.
Why they didn't release a figure? Yeah, I don't know. I know that they retconned Venom to be like Cobra's response to GI Joe's M.A.S.K initiative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that seems like the perfect opportunity to at least come out with the main guy. But they probably didn't want anyone overshadowing Cobra Commander. I don't know. Maybe he's in charge now. I don't. I don't remember. My GI Joe's a bit hazy now, but.
Well, speaking of a little known fact, well, it may not be a little known fact, but like my parents stored my GI Joes in the garage in a box. Okay. And I think it was when I got married, we moved, so I opened them up.
Okay.
And they all had split the rubber band.
Yeah.
From the torso. I mean, and I had a bunch of GI Joes. They're all torn at the waist.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That rubber band. So.
My parents stored most of our toys in the attic. So, the Texas heat pretty much ruined a lot of them. The plastic's kind of melting, but there were several that survived. And the M.A.S.K toys, I don't know what their plastic, what kind of plastic, but it held up a bit better than He-Man. The He-Man ones kind of got sticky and melted a bit, but these ones are actually pretty durable, which is kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, at some point in the last 25 years, I've seen my Matt Tracker somewhere, and it looked, I mean, the doors opened. Nice. He was obviously fine. So, but I have no idea where they went.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, we were very blessed that my parents, they decided to move back to their hometown. It's a tiny little town in South Texas. And when they were cleaning out their stuff, they found a bunch of of our toys that they hadn't sold at garage sales yet. And they're like, here, take them. So, so my kids have been playing with all of them. And there was this one big box full of M.A.S.K toys. Because awesome. I did have these, but I also had Volcano, and I didn't have Stiletto, although I had the figure. And I think it's because I bought that figure at a garage sale.
Okay.
But Condor. I did have Rhino. I got Rhino one year.
Okay.
Which was that big rig, and that one was really cool because the back kind of came apart, and it had the big missile that you could shoot, and an ejector seat, which was so cool, and like a battering ram, and it was just
awesome.
It was just neat, the way that they design toys, and you don't see that a lot in today's toys.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, granted, the seatbelt for Matt Tracker was probably one, so it wouldn't fall out when you're making you're flying.
Yeah.
But I mean, the detail was pretty good for
it sure was.
a toy in the 80s. So, yep.
Yeah, the seatbelts were something. I tell you, when I was 6, trying to put him inside and get that seatbelt on, that was like a beast, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty hard to get that seatbelt on, but
and the little bombs underneath.
Oh yeah.
Underneath. I'm sure I lost mine before.
Mine are long gone.
Yeah.
They're probably still in the attic somewhere of the old house.
Well, didn't the helmets, the masks themselves, later on they lengthened them because they were a choking hazard.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I didn't know if you found any of that in your research, but I think I was on a YouTube just looking at old toys.
Oh, nice.
And they said that a lot of them they redid them.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, that makes sense. I mean, these ones I can see there. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it from here, but yeah, they do extend a bit in the show. It didn't quite go all the way down. It was kind of ended on that red kind of buffer, at the end. But they do kind of go all the way down, and I know part of that's just so that it'll sit on this tiny little figure better. But also, that makes sense so that kids won't choke, especially after that whole Boba Fett missile.
Yes, the missile. Yep.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was like a huge thing, which I don't know if you ever watched the show Community. Do you ever watch Community?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. In season 5, it's like the 2-part season finale, and they find that secret tunnel to the founder of Greendale, and they find in the background the dean is playing with. He finds a Boba Fett toy, and the missile like shoots in his mouth, and he starts choking. And it was because of that, that whole controversy. So,
their version of McDonald's, the lady who spilled coffee.
Oh,
it was like a big wake-up call.
Yeah, or like like Kramer.
Yes, yes. With Jackie
Childs.
What was his? Yes, that's the Yep.
Who told her to use the bomb? I didn't tell her to use the bomb.
Oh man, I could bet. Yeah,
but
we could go on for hours on Seinfeld. But
oh yeah, Seinfeld. I think it was no coincidence that show ended my senior year of high school. It it was like timed perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah, Seinfeld was awesome. They have some great Christmas episodes too.
That's right.
That might be for a different, not quite the 80s, but
podcast.
I might make a bonus episode just on that. But
there you go.
But back to M.A.S.K.
Yeah.
Did you happen to watch that very first episode, the pilot episode?
I did.
Yeah, that was something.
Yes, it was. Well, watching that,
the Death Stone.
My youngest daughter and I have been watching Resistance on the Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
And just how those 80s cartoons compared to now, like Resistance, it's totally different.
Yeah.
So, but you just gotta wipe it away.
It's
back
funny
into
they kind of had like a. Of course, they had the standards that they had to follow. The FCC guidelines that they couldn't get around and things like that. And but the writing kind of has seemed to evolve to a more it's not just episodic. There's like a whole through line, generally speaking, nowadays for a season. There's arch.
Well, that goes back to they're not having. That goes back to the part about they're not having as many episodes too. They have the time to. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Instead of so.
And I hate to bring up G.I. Joe again, although I feel like I can now because M.A.S.K is officially a part of G.I. Joe.
There you go.
But,
there you go.
but when G.I. Joe first came out, they had their first 5 episodes, and it was like a little mini series, and
yes.
I think that M.A.S.K would have benefited from doing that. Maybe providing an origin story.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think the cartoons really missed. And DC Comics, they actually published. They were the ones that picked it up, and they published a little a mini series where they kind of explore how Miles Mayhem and Matt Tracker and I believe Mayhem's brother kind of were, they kind of developed all this technology and stuff together before their evil tendencies took over and whatever. But I think that would have benefited at least me growing up to kind of see how were they formed, because the first Joe miniseries doesn't really show how they were formed, but you can tell it's the start, and they're testing them out where they have to break into that security base and whatever, and I think it would have been really cool for M.A.S.K to do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
So we'll see what happens in the this upcoming movie if Hollywood ever gets back into production, if things ever go back to normal. Or
no kidding.
But you're there in California, right? What's it what's it like out there? Is any rumblings? And
it's just weird. I mean, I was out on a Saturday, the Saturday before Easter, getting something for Sunday morning for Easter breakfast, and the roads were, not very crowded.
Wow.
And it's weird. I mean, it was a restaurant, and we ordered it. So I picked it up, and all the tables, were against the windows. It's a weird time, and there's people that go walking on our street, and they're in the full masks. It's different. Granted, I've got two seniors, I guess they are seniors. But prom, grad night, it's all not going to happen.
Wow.
So it's we'll look back on it someday and think either that was the beginning of this new normal, or we'll just laugh and say, wow, what were we doing? But we just don't know yet. So,
well, we'll see if hopefully it's what were we doing? Nothing crazy. But
no, it's better, I guess, to have done all this and look back rather than, oh man, we didn't do enough, I guess. So,
well, hopefully, because I know productions have been delayed for quite a bit of Hollywood movies, and so hopefully they'll get back going. I think that definitely add to the normal, or at least some sense of normalcy, But I think it would be cool, and in a way, and I hate to say this because I always feel so bad when I think things like this, but every time I see like a person in a full like hazmat suit and things like that, I always think of like Matt Tracker, because he's kind of got like that racing, racing garb, but then when he's got his helmet on, it's very, it's almost like
I agree.
like when Marty McFly appears to appears to his dad, and says he's Darth Vader
in the barn.
It's I always get that vibe, it's kind of got that same feel, and so I hate to joke about the present climate because it is scary, but at the same time it just I that's what I picture. Like I'm just waiting for someone to take off the helmet and get into their vehicle that suddenly it becomes a tank.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, if only.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't know this. So the first episode was the Death Stone, that pilot episode.
Yes.
And it's one of those where Hondo, of course, Venom's after this meteorite, supposed to have incredible powers. Hondo gets hurt. M.A.S.K manages to defeat Venom and have the meteorite, and they heal. Suddenly this meteorite has very healing properties, and so Hondo's back to normal. So again, it's kind of follows that same storyline. But one of the things that I really loved most about it was Scott and his little robot T-Bob. They're so out of place in the show. And I know why. It's to kind of draw us kids into it, like, oh, here's someone to relate to. This is what I would do. He's doing saying everything I would say. But it's just so random, and it's so very 80s to have like a robot in the show.
That has no really bearing on the end result.
Yes.
Maybe they were trying for like the 3-year-olds with T-Bob. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think part of that has to do with R2D2, you know,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
you know, he kind of just set everything up. He's this cool little plucky little robot, and from then on, I mean, there was even a robot in, what was it, Rocky 4, Rocky 5.
Yeah. Oh
so I mean, that's how popular robots were. So hey, let's throw in a robot. The kids will love it.
Whenever I see C-3PO, this is way off the base, but whenever I see 3PO, I don't know why, but I always picture Twinkie from Battlestar Buck Rogers.
Oh yeah.
Same color. So anyway, and that's kind of T-Bob in a sense.
It really is. Yeah, he's just, you know, and he's got that crazy voice. I don't think we should be doing this.
Yes. Which exactly, C-3PO would say that in every movie.
Yes, exactly. So he's kind of like the R2D2 / C-3PO combination.
Yep.
You know, like you always have that one kind of daring guy that doesn't care, and then you always have that other guy more reserved. It's like, I don't know, the real prim and proper. You know, that the straight man and the other guy, and T-Bob is kind of that in one.
Yes.
He goes to distract Venom at some sort of meetup where they're gonna sell, I think, their stone, and their buyer, you know, their fence is like, hey, what's going on here? Because this little plucky robot just comes out, and Mayhem's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I mean, no disrespect to the writers, because it's hard to come up with good stories, but I don't know about that one. That's kind of rough there. That was pretty rough.
Was there a toy for that?
There was. I actually had that.
That's what I figured, but
yeah, and it was really cool. The arms, of course, the arms didn't bend, but they did go inside and come out, and his wheels did like go up and down as well.
Yeah.
And his head turned, you know, that top of his head, the dome, and Scott could ride on his back and everything, just like just like in the cartoon. So it was really cool. But again, that was one of those 2-packs, those $3.99 2-packs where you just buy the two little guys separately. Okay. Yeah.
Although I doubt there's people talking, guys talking on a podcast now about T-Bob though. They're probably searching for the Matt Tracker instead of T-Bob.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he's probably not one of the more popular ones.
Although that might, on eBay, that might go way up there, because I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the M.A.S.K toys are actually, if they're complete, especially on card, I mean those are crazy expensive. Which, for again, like I said, they were like the 5th best-selling toy in 86, but I mean, still, that's not something that you would expect to see, because whenever I talk about M.A.S.K, a lot of people don't really remember it. But
I made a Facebook post the other day about, masks. Everybody has to wear masks. And I wish I'd known that, back in the 80s, because, M.A.S.K would, be popular or more popular. And I was surprised how many of my friends would I had this one, I had that one. Oh, I was really shocked but then, when you say it was the 5th largest toy or the best selling, that makes sense.
It seems like loose, pre-owned with several of the things missing. They kind of average out around $30 to $40.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And then on card, of course, they're a lot more expensive.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, it makes sense. I guess that's the way of the world in general, and the way of toys in general.
Yeah. True. Yep.
Yeah. But there was. G.I. Joe occasionally they did a lot more science fiction, but they occasionally did get into the mystical, and I think M.A.S.K definitely veered more into the mystical. So the very second episode, the Star Chariot, there's like a mystical arrowhead that's supposed to point into like an alien spacecraft. And then again in the third episode, it's like there's there's like an ancient book that's supposed to have like all these secrets to mythological cities of riches and things like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's this general thing. Again, episode 10, there's another meteor. It's but then
Episode
occasionally they
14.
was it? Yeah, exactly,
The
exactly.
Statue of Liberty. I
The
think it was
Statue of
14.
Liberty
The
one, yeah.
Statue of Liberty. And they show how the magic trick's done and everything. And so I watched that. I watched that one actually twice because I was just amazed by the trick.
But well, how was it done? Tell us.
It was no, put me on the spot. It was like a two-way mirror.
Okay.
And if the light, I think, shone behind it or through it, it wouldn't be seen. And then you take it away and it would be there, or something like that.
Oh, nice.
So it was pretty cool. But I'm like, well, this guy's magic trick is ruined because of Matt Tracker.
Yeah. So I guess he's not going to be invited back to the Society of Magicians annual conference.
Exactly. He's been banned.
That's it. Yeah. I jumped ahead to the episode that premiered on Christmas Day because I was curious to see if there was going to be any sort of Christmas link, and there wasn't, which was kind of a disappointment to me.
Yeah.
But that one, yeah, that was like a whole like Himalayan treasure kind of a thing. There's a cobra, like an actual snake, and on the back of the snake, its hood, when it's about to strike, when its hood is expanded, there's like a map that's supposed to show you to it. And in that episode, what's his name? Sly, I think, the Leto guy. Yeah. He was actually drawing what was on the back of the cobra's hood. And I was like, why didn't they just get a Polaroid and like take a picture of it? You had Polaroids back then.
They're very true. Why? I think I don't know why I equate Sly with Destro from G.I. Joe.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know why, but like the second in command type of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just second in command because I had that toy.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it could be.
In command, but...
Well, he was pretty cool. I always liked Sly. I mean, he had that, the mustache and like the little not goatee, was like
thing or...
like soul patch or something.
Yeah. So
and of course he had the shades and the leather jacket. I mean, he was just a bad dude, and so I always thought his look was really cool. Of course, Destro, you got the metal head, and I still don't know how he moved his mouth, but but it was cool in a different way. Yeah, exactly. I'd hate to be him on like a hot Texas day, when it's 114.
All black leather and a metal head.
A metal mask. Oh, the sunburns. Can you imagine?
Yeah, exactly.
But Stiletto, that was a cool vehicle because I remember the sidecar would detach and it would become like an underwater little mini sub kind of a thing.
Yep.
And of course, purple classic villain motif. Especially in comic books, the villains were almost always either red and purple or like purple and green, and usually, of course, the heroes would be in some sort of blue, maybe gold, that kind of color that really popped. And I know a lot of that had to do with just what colors were available at the time, and then eventually just became a motif. But I thought the choice to make his vehicle purple, really tied into it. And his leather jacket wasn't quite green, but it wasn't quite black either. It was kind of
Yep.
And so again, you kind of tie in that classic villain motif. And he always seemed like he was just a sneaky punk, So.
Yeah. Punk is probably the perfect word.
That probably is, yeah. Oh man, I'm sure there's a dad joke in there somewhere, but I'll refrain for now. Yeah.
I'll as soon as we hang up, I'll get it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah.
But the M.A.S.K had those watches.
Oh yeah.
I wish they had sold like a toy version.
That seems something that like that's something that they would have capitalized on. And I don't know if that's
You
just,
think.
I mean, I don't know why they really didn't, but um, yeah, I remember because whenever they were called into action, the mask symbol would appear.
Yep,
And then
exactly.
they'd
Yep.
immediately leave whatever they were doing, even if they were on
Yep.
stage in the middle of a concert.
Yeah.
They just get up and go. And I mean, I know they had coloring books, of course. The lunchbox. I think there was a ViewMaster. One of those where you'd put in
Oh,
the
really? Wow. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, that's really surprising that they actually didn't have the
Yeah.
watch.
They all synchronize on their missions. They'd all synchronize together.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be a cool thing if I'm sure I would have bought that if
Oh, I
I
totally would
had
have
it.
too. Yeah.
So yeah.
But
Yep.
their logo is really cool as well.
Yes, I
And
agree.
something about it, it's GI Joe, of course, they had the red, white, and blue with the letters, and M.A.S.K, of course, had their special letters as well. But then the actual mask that they picked, it
Yes.
wasn't even one of the more popular masks. So the choice to use that particular mask was always kind of interested me. But
Yeah.
uh, I mean, I don't know
Yep.
why they decided just they didn't want to single out like Matt Tracker, like, well, I started
Yeah.
this, it should be my. Of course, it should be
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah. Well, that's the way normally it would have gone. Would
Yeah,
be the leader would so. Yep. Anyway, so I wondered about the watches because I mean I could totally see it being all of our friends run around the neighborhood. Okay, synchronize your watch.
synchronize. Yep.
So and then
Yeah.
when they listen to their watch, and then we're in the conference, or I guess I'll call it a conference room,
Yeah.
and their
Yeah.
helmets came down.
Oh, that was cool. Then they were like
Yes.
energized, and I have a degree
Yeah.
in physics, but I have no idea
Okay.
what was going on with it. that's
Okay.
that's some
Yeah.
sort of weird. I don't know what was going on.
Yep.
Uh, which was one thing I did
That
notice
thing that
in
came
their
down.
fight. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll get to it in a
So
little bit.
that thing that would come down to get all the masks on it.
Yeah.
That was some technology.
Yeah, it was. I wonder how many millions Matt Tracker spent on that.
Exactly. All right, you got to sit right here because it's gonna. You sit, inch out of the way, it's not gonna land on your head.
Yeah, yeah. And don't look directly at it. You'll go
Yeah,
blind, I
exactly.
swear.
Exactly. And then the computer that Matt would find out, who was gonna do what mission.
Oh
It
yeah.
sounded exactly like the original Star Trek computer.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Well, wasn't it Gene Roddenberry's wife, Majel
Yeah,
Barrett?
Major, well,
Ba-
Roddenberry.
oh, yeah, yeah. I think it was Barrett first, right? And then it was
Well,
Roddenberry.
yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you're right. It was Nurse Chapel.
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was
Well,
it was
yeah. We'll
her. There
just
you
do
go.
that. Exactly.
I can pronounce that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I remember, and the artificial intelligence that had to be, you know, used to decide who was best suited for this particular mission.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some like hardcore programming. So this dude is not
Yes.
only like a millionaire genius, but he's like a super genius there, and apparently
Exactly.
in very qualified in all sorts of different fields.
Yeah. No kidding.
But I guess
I wonder if.
that's pretty much like standard superhero fare. Like
Yeah. True.
Hank Pym, Ant-Man in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Of course, his specialty is dealing with ants and entomology and of course he discovered the Pym particles. But then all of a sudden he programmed Ultron. He's like this major artificial intelligence guy. So I guess you just kind of span every
Yeah.
single every single field.
Yeah. Yep. Why didn't I get picked for that mission?
Yeah, for real, for real. Computer, how come I wasn't chosen? I want to go to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But I just picked in the dungeon. Why do I have to do that one?
Yeah, you always send me to the jungle.
Yeah. My bike doesn't. My bike doesn't go on the water.
Yeah.
That was probably that was a bad one, but
Oh man. Yeah, it seemed to know who to pick for each particular mission, who would be best suited,
yep,
and which mask they should use. Because of
yeah,
course, towards the end of the, like the second half of the first season, they started shifting gears and moving towards the second series of toys. So Matt Tracker didn't really use Spectrum much anymore. He used that oh gosh, what was it called? Like something
oh,
Flash, not Hot
yeah,
Flash. That's wrong. Uh,
that's
Ultra Flash. That's what it is.
okay. There, yeah,
Yeah, he'd use the Ultra Flash helmet a lot, and that was
yes,
kind of like that brown and the dark brown and red outfit. It had like that red vest, and I always thought, that's kind of cool that not only do they have different outfits, different costumes, but they also have different masks, particularly suited to do
yeah,
different things.
yep,
So I mean, that's really neat because I mean now that makes everybody just way more valuable.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had what seven vehicles that Matt Tracker. I'm looking 7.
Oh gosh, this dude, man, he's talented. I'm telling you. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
James Bond with lots of money,
There you go. Yeah.
and a son. I guess that wouldn't be James Bond.
Well, yeah. Well, there was a no. That was his nephew. I was gonna say there was James Bond Jr. That was show in the '90s,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, that was his nephew.
yeah.
Although I didn't realize he had any siblings. I'm a
I
James Bond
didn't.
fan, and I don't recall any
Well, so am
siblings.
I. Well, yeah, I'm a big James Bond fan, and I thought he was an only child that
Yep.
his parents were gone from the picture.
Yep. Pretty much.
So, yeah.
Oh man, Bond. I should do an episode on Bond. That'd be pretty rad.
If you want to do it, I'll answer the call.
All right. All right. We'll put it in the schedule.
There's a couple of Bond movies in the 80s.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, my favorite is Connery.
Oh, okay.
But Roger
I'm
Moore
a Roger
did.
Moore guy.
Oh, okay. I yeah, and I think I prefer Connery mostly because he starred in my favorite. And I know we're getting off topic here, but mostly because he starred in my favorite my favorite film, which is based on my favorite book, which was From Russia with Love.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
It's
Yep.
more under the radar as far as the movies go.
Yeah.
Goldfinger being the most popular of the Connery
Yep.
eras, but I really like From Russia with Love. It's the plot is
It's a
great,
good movie.
and
It's
the
good.
book was fantastic, and ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where you think Bond he's
Not
dying,
gonna
you
be
know, and
right.
you think
Yep.
he's gonna pretty much not gonna make it, and then all of a sudden, oops, spoiler alert. But
Yeah. I've only read a couple of the books, and that's
okay,
one of them. And at the end, I was like, "What's gonna happen here?" And
yeah, yeah,
but then I guess the movies they did them in a different order
they did,
than what he
yeah.
originally wrote, and that's why that the cliffhanger, or it's why it's set up that way, because the movies were done differently.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was the second
So
movie,
yeah,
whereas I think it was like the fifth or sixth book.
yeah,
But
yep.
but yeah, I mean Roger Moore was great, and so we'll. Okay, sounds like a plan, man.
Okay.
I'm sure we could talk forever on
Yeah,
Moore as Bond.
yeah, and I'll
But
keep I'll keep my Miss Moneypenny impersonation to a very
oh no, that's gonna be in the show, definitely. But well, let me ask you, what if you had a choice of vehicle that you could, you know, that you could drive, and which would it be? And I know, I know which ones you said you have, but out of all the
yeah.
vehicles, there was the, like I said, the '57 Chevy, um, the motorcycle that turned into the chopper, the firecracker pickup truck, all those ones. Which one would you like to drive?
Actually, I think it was Brad Turner who had the helicopter,
Yep.
but he also had a stock car. That's
Oh,
the one I would probably choose.
see, I think you're right.
Let me see here.
Yeah, the T-Bird, right? It was a
yes, yeah.
Razorback. Oh, that's a cool name.
Yes, yeah, yep, that's it. That's probably the one I would choose.
Oh yeah, that thing's pretty rad.
How about you?
So, of course, I want to say Thunderhawk, but not doing that one. There's actually one that I have. It was a Corvette, and it was called Raven,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was kind of like it turned into like a hovercraft kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that could go like on the water and stuff like that. And it kind of reminded me of that old '80s cartoon Pole Position, you know, that where the cars would turn and also, but yeah, that one was cool. It was a black Corvette, and it shot like little razor blades out. I mean, not real razor blades, of course, but but you know, razor blades out of the front, out of the grill, and the doors would come down, and like the whole hood would just like flip over, and I mean, it was just it was. I mean, it was cool, man. It was just a cool car. I think that's the one I'd like to drive.
And that was,
plus, I'm just not very good on motorcycles, so.
Yeah. I think that was piloted by Mr. Burns' son, Calhoun Burns.
Oh, I think you're right. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Calhoun.
Such a great name.
That is definitely a great name, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what these guys, they really like stretch their imagination chops here, you know.
I could see every one of these names in a John Wayne movie or in a boxing rink.
Yes, yeah. It's like a whole high school's worth of like great names, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Calhoun Burns and Jacques Lafleur and
exactly, yeah.
I mean, just some great names here. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to be driving that Corvette personally.
I agree. Well, with Corvettes, there was an A-Team. They were the four figures of the A-Team.
Oh yeah.
They were action figures.
Uh-huh.
And then they had these generic bad guys. I don't even know if they had names.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, the A-Team every week, you know, they just helped.
That's true.
Someone random, so it's not like they had like super villains, except, you know, the was it a colonel or general that was always after them?
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
But that Corvette was like, when I was growing up, that was the car I wanted, was that 85 or whatever Corvette with the racing red stripe down the back. That was the pinnacle of fashion for me.
You didn't want the van?
That van was cool.
That van was really cool. Yeah, that's actually the van that made me start liking vans.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That was cool.
There was I think there was a van in in M.A.S.K. There was a couple of vans, and one of them was I had V.E.N.O. Of course, it was like an all-terrain van. It's had the big like monster truck wheels on it, you know. But I remember the cool thing about that one was it actually had batteries, and like you'd turn it on and it would drive by itself. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And of course it would turn into like a tank kind of a thing, which is always nice.
That first episode had a van, I believe.
I think you're right.
I'm just trying to look through my cheat sheet here, which, you know, is Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, I know there was an RV. There was a.
Okay, that's it.
And I remember my cousin had the RV, and I thought it was the coolest because the sides would come down, and there was like a little jet or like a little mini plane in it.
Yeah.
And then it would just take off like that, and I thought it was so awesome, and I wanted it so bad. But you know, I mean, with He-Man and Voltron and Transformers and, you know, all these Thundercats, you know, I mean, you couldn't get all of one thing. So
no.
There's only so much to go around, and so that was one that I ended up never getting. But but it was fun. Yeah, I'd just go over to his house and we'd play.
There you go. At least you had a friend that had them, so you could touch them and feel them.
Yeah.
Play with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My best friend growing up had the flag, the USS Flag, the aircraft carrier from.
I had a friend. In fact, we just talked about it last episode. I had a friend that had the flag, and it took up like most of his room.
Yeah, exactly.
and it was really cool because I mean, it's just so massive. It was huge, you know, little kids. I mean, we just didn't compare to it. Like,
No.
and all the
No,
vehicles
you
actually
just that.
fit on it, which was really cool.
Yeah. That. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There, there's a couple of those play sets, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Boulder Hill, the Boulder Hill
Oh
set
yeah.
was
Yeah.
kind of like
Okay.
that. Of course, it wasn't as huge as the flag, but still, it was kind of like a home base, like a Castle Grayskull type thing.
Yep.
And so yeah, my cousin had that one too, and
Wow.
and so yeah, we would just go over and just play and play and play. But
Yep.
well,
Awesome.
I gotta ask, do you have a happiest memory? This is for something I like to call a happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with well, we'll just say
Danny
Danny
Kaye.
Kaye.
Yeah. um,
A happiest memory of Christmas, or at least a happiest memory with M.A.S.K.
I actually I do have my Christmas memory, and it's happy, it's sad, and then it's happy again.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
actually, it's based on G.I. Joe. Actually,
Okay.
I woke up that morning on Christmas morning, and I had the F-14 waiting there for me.
The Sky Striker.
So yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I had that. That was very cool. I actually had. I got that one for Christmas. That was really cool. Yeah.
So we had to wait for my parents to get up, and then they were up, and I tore that thing open, and one of the fins was warped somehow.
Huh.
And so my dad, being the dad that he was, took me the next day to Kmart.
Okay.
And of course, nobody had them.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
so I had to wait for, I think it was like 3 weeks, and
Oh no.
that's my happiest moment, was when I finally got it.
Yeah.
So, but that thing was, I was so excited to have that.
Yeah. It was a really cool toy, and it came with I think his name was Ace. Is that right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah, that would have been. See, this is the kind of thing I wish they had a Matt Tracker 3 3/4 inch figure, because that would have been so cool to play. You know, I mean, I totally would have put him in the jet. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, that was. I didn't like the figure. Didn't like Ace because he looked like he was like a wannabe astronaut.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
But I mean, I could get over that very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like almost a puffy type
Yeah.
suit, which is
Yes.
strange.
And like the big, like half of a
like fishbowl helmet or something.
Exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Exactly.
Yeah. Um, I remember my happiest memory, or my happiest memory of Christmas with M.A.S.K. Was when I actually got that Rhino set.
Oh, okay.
So the Rhino was that big rig with all
Yes.
the bells and whistles, and I remember that being under the tree, and
Awesome.
that one was crazy cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
So that was that was a nice little adventure there, to get that open and play with it, and then start mixing and matching, and having the V.E.N.O.M guys come and try to take over, and then but they
cool.
sat in the ejector seat, bam, they're gone.
Cool. Awesome.
But yeah, those they're just, yeah, it was great.
The bad thing about, well, I'll say bad about Easter morning was, by 2 or 1 o'clock, they got to put it all away. The family's coming over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. We'd wake up and we'd go to of course we'd go through the whole thing. We'd open all our presents, and then at about 10 o'clock, they're like, "All right, we're going to Grandma's house," and then we'd stay over there for most of the day. And of course, we were allowed to take like one toy with us,
nice.
And everything else we had to leave behind. And of course, it couldn't be anything that we really liked, because we didn't want to like lose anything.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I feel your pain there. Yeah.
So every year.
Yes, sir.
It's what Christmas is, seeing family. So.
Yeah, and I still I miss those days where, you'd go to the house and like everybody would be there, all the cousins, and I'm Hispanic, so we have like millions of cousins, but 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 it was just it was jam packed with everybody, and so I do kind of miss that, but at the same
Yep.
time, sometimes it is nice to just be with your own little family and enjoy the stuff that you got in your own little
Yeah.
family as well,
Yeah.
especially as a kid.
Exactly. Yep. So. Yep.
But all right, so what I want to do now, I want to get to my favorite segment, which is gag me with the spoon.
I
So
know
in
it's coming.
this is the segment where where we're each going to do an impression of one of the worst moments of the show, and whoever does the best impression, we're going to leave it up to the viewers to vote.
Okay.
But whoever does the best impression will get some sort of prize that I haven't decided yet. Maybe a sticker of the show, or or something.
Cool.
But
Okay.
but whoever, yeah. So as a guest, I will let you go first.
Well, I knew this was coming.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do Sly, and I believe I preface this by saying it sounds to me like he's Christian Slater, Jack Nicholson, and John Wayne mixed together.
That's a great description of Sly.
So saying that, I'm gonna try and do it, which would be different.
Okay.
No one can survive that crash. Totally didn't do it, but
that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I actually, my part that I thought was the most ridiculous was from one of the very first scenes, and it's Cliff Dagger, and he's the kind of like the moron of the group, the muscle.
Yes.
And so he goes, okay, let me see if I can do this. He goes, ho, 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 what a bunch of suckers. Just like
pretty good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. That's just one of those lines that I don't know if that would make it into a show nowadays with the quality of writing that we kind of have now. But so that's it. And you, dear viewers, you may decide which one of us did it better. Who wore it better, I suppose.
I'm going with Gerry.
Oh, okay, all right. I can dig this. I'll send myself a sticker.
There you go.
No, but before we go, G.I. Joe, and now that we know M.A.S.K is officially part of G.I. Joe, they taught us that knowing was half the battle. So I'm going to ask you, Michael, what's the other half of the battle?
I would say knowing which M.A.S.K agent should go on each mission.
Nice. All right, I can dig that. For me, if knowing is half the battle, and if the theme song tells us that no one knows what lies behind a man's charades, so I'm going to say that the other half is what lies behind a man's charades.
All right. There you go.
Oh man, it's been great chatting with you, and we've had quite a few laughs, and just good reminiscing about this kind of stuff. What do you got? What do you got going on? Anything you want to plug?
No, not really. I'm on Facebook, and I'm thinking about doing a podcast, but I'll let you know when and if that happens.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Now, just sheltering in place.
All right. Well, that's good. It's good advice, guys. So let's do that. And on that note, like I said, you can reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. Our website's coming pretty soon. So this is a new segment that I like to call Chatting with the Littles. So I'm here with little number one and my almost 8-year-old daughter. And I have to say, hey, do you remember playing with Daddy's M.A.S.K toys?
No.
Well, you probably don't because you were little, but you've played with them before. Which one do you think is your favorite?
Scott and T-Bob.
You like Scott and T-Bob? Why?
Because T-Bob is funny. And Scott can ride T-Bob.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Okay, which one of the vehicles was your favorite?
The flying car.
Thunderhawk
The red one?
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. That's my favorite too.
And the blue one that turns into a boat. I mean the black one.
Okay, so you mean Raven?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of those.
I like those too. Yeah, those are also my favorites. And if you were little in the 80s when Daddy was little, would you have wanted Santa to bring you a mask toy?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, that makes sense. What else would you have wanted Santa to bring you?
I don't know. Maybe some more Transformers or GoBots.
A girl after my own heart. All right. Well, thank you, little number one, for being here. And I'll get back to our regularly scheduled program.
But for now, this is Gerry D. And thank you again, Michael. It was great having you. And I'm going to say, later, dudes.
What did you want to say?
That we should have a challenge. And the challenge would be that all the kids would have to create a mask, helmet.
Helmet or like Santa hat?
Well, a hat.
A mask-inspired Santa hat.
Yes.
All right. Well, you heard it here, guys. Go out and make yourselves a mask-inspired Santa hat.
And make sure you show it to us. Later, dudes.